The evening of January 7, 1916 was disagreeable. Steady rain, falling temperatures, snow flurries, and sleet. But 25 Greenville businessmen ignored the weather and gathered at the Rotary Hotel to begin the first Rotary Club in South Carolina. Enjoying an elaborate banquet with the delegation of Atlanta Rotarians who welcomed them to Rotary, they heard that 204 clubs around the world emphasize service, responsibility, and thoughtfulness. They ended an evening of good fellowship with songs that resounded throughout the hotel. The official charter for the Rotary Club of Greenville was presented on March 1, 1916. The year before, in 1915, the Southern Textile Exposition opened in the warehouse of the Piedmont and Northern Railroad. It was a financial success, and future Rotarians served as exposition president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. Shortly thereafter, these men, with several others, met in the Poinsett Club on North Main Street and decided that the idea of business leadership, working together for a common cause, giving their time and service to the community would help make Greenville a great city. They had heard of the Rotary Club and decided to start one in Greenville. The Southern Textile Exposition had been so successful that in 1916 they began building Textile Hall across the street, designed by Joe Serene. This was the Rotary's first real project. These men and the new charter members that joined them in Greenville's Rotary Club represented the manufacturing professions and businesses of a bustling, progressive southern city that was beginning to call itself the textile center of the South. Many were cotton men, executives of textile machinery, textile starches, textile engineering and architecture, cotton sheeting, cotton selling, and print cloth manufacturing businesses. Members included a lawyer, the Greenville Daily News publisher, a banker, a jeweler, and a pharmacist, the YMCA secretary, an ice manufacturer, a printing company executive, and the telegraph company manager. Together, these first members created an organization based on friendship and committed to service, which has shaped and improved Greenville life for 100 years. They were movers and shakers, these Rotary pioneers, and they started fast. Under the leadership of Joe Serene, their first president, within 4 months they had helped organize Rotary clubs in Spartanburg, Charlotte, and Columbia. They sponsored their first gala ladies' night 6 weeks after they organized. The 2 members who didn't bring spouses were fined $1, and they royally entertained the president of Rotary International at the Sans Souci Country Club.
When you look at what Rotary does for the community and the world at large, it's unbelievable. It makes Rotary one of the most unique organizations in the world when you think about it. Because we are a non-denominational organization, we respect all cultures. We constantly expanding our offering. If you look at what we've done in Polio Plus for literacy, and it just is never ending to all the things that we are doing to make the community and the world at large better. We refer to it as doing good.
With the entrance of the United States into World War I in April 1917, members dedicated themselves to the war effort. They helped persuade the Army to establish a military training facility in Greenville and hosted General Leonard Wood when he arrived to inspect the proposed site of Camp Sevier. Rotarian Joe Serene designed the layout, and J.F. Gallivan was awarded the contract for building the camp. More than 100,000 men eventually trained here, and Rotarians made them welcome. Members entertained soldiers at their homes, donated $2,000 to begin a camp library, co-sponsored a Christmas party for 20,000 soldiers at Textile Hall, and helped lead Greenville's Liberty Bond drives to unprecedented successes. They cheered the Butler Guards when, led by Rotarian Haywood Mann, the company left for France from the Southern Railway Station. South Carolina experienced its first serious outbreak of influenza during the spring of 1918. This outbreak started at Camp Sevier, but quickly spread throughout Greenville County. The war in Europe had placed an enormous demand on nursing services, leaving local civilian hospitals seriously depleted. Rotarians immediately stepped in, serving as nursing assistants, driving ambulances, organizing sick wards, and putting up health posters throughout the Greenville area. When quarantines were imposed on all indoor gatherings, members lunched on the roof of the Masonic Temple, ending the meeting by singing "When Haywood Comes Marching Home" in honor of Captain Mann, who had been gravely injured in France. On November 11th, they wildly celebrated the armistice and later welcomed Mann, the Butler Guards, and veterans of the Old Hickory Division when they returned to Greenville for a reunion. After the war, their commitment to education, children, and quality of life set a pattern for the future. At a May 1919 meeting, their guests included Furman's Board of Trustees and W.J. McLaughlin, a Southern Baptist Seminary professor who was hesitating about accepting the university's presidency. When members pledged to raise funds for a Furman gymnasium, McLaughlin immediately agreed. Rotarians raised $60,000 of the gymnasium's $80,000 cost. They also helped the university complete the funding for its football stadium, Manley Field. When it was dedicated in 1919, the club had completed its third major project. Throughout the 20s and 30s, they annually entertained faculty members and student leaders at Furman, the Greenville Women's College, Greenville High School, and Parker High School. Although in the depth of the Depression, they decided it would be a bit too expensive to have Furman's football team as their luncheon guests. They were, however, concerned about younger boys. Rotary International had initiated a boys' work program in 1916, and the Greenville Club enthusiastically adopted its goals. The club's first boys' night in December 1919 was a peppy and enjoyable evening, with each member bringing 2 working boys between the ages of 12 and 18 to dinner and introducing Rotary objectives. The club committed itself to an ambitious, long-range project, spending $10,000 over the next 3 years on programs and projects benefiting teenagers. They employed a full-time secretary attached to the YMCA who set up junior Rotary clubs, organized sports programs at grammar schools, the beginning of elementary physical education in Greenville schools, and held Sunday afternoon meetings for boys who were employed. Rotary Committee Chair Roger Huntington started a boys' club on Coffee Street and opened a woodworking shop, first at the Camperdown Mill Village and later at Greenville High School to teach boys how to use tools. It was the beginning of manual training in Greenville High School. And when the Shriners Hospital for Crippled Children opened, Rotarians visited every school in the county to identify crippled children who needed medical care. Working with Rotarian Uncle Johnny Holmes, director of the YMCA, Greenville's Rotary Club was largely responsible for starting Camp Greenville, providing half of its initial funding and $5,500 to build a dam and create Rotary Lake on the property. Members cleared land, pulled stumps, and built or funded the construction of buildings on the property. Funds for the dining hall came from the Ballantyne family in honor of W.H. Ballantyne. Charles Gower and John Arrington arranged for the camp's water system and cold storage plant. J. Harvey Cleveland donated 30 acres, including land that now houses Sims Chapel, known as Pretty Place. Uncle Johnny had a vision of a lodge dedicated to world friendship, so Rotarians collected rocks and mementos from Rotary clubs all over the world to build the Thomas Parker Lodge, including a special letter from Gandhi. During the Great Depression, Rotarians sponsored Christmas parties where they presented fruit, candy, nuts, and toys to black children from destitute families. Beginning in 1934, Rotarians installed a Christmas tree in front of City Hall and hosted 300 carefully chosen recipients from Greenville's poorest families. By 1938, they were entertaining 2,500 underprivileged youngsters and their parents at a grand entertainment at Textile Hall, with Santa Claus distributing gift packages. The program received international publicity and resulted in improved race relations. Their projects were so distinguished that in 1937, Greenville tied with Chicago for second place among the 4,500 clubs in Rotary International's contest for community service. Their charities were impressive, donating a 4-year scholarship at the Greenville Women's College to an inspiring woman athlete from Oconee County, helping fund 4 children's camps, delivering flowers to 200 invalids, buying shoes for 60 orphanage children, and paying for 2 picnics with swimming and movies for 500 poor white children. All this plus a Christmas tree for black youngsters. Many early Rotary meetings focused on community improvement. In 1922, members marveled at Roger Huntington's demonstration of wireless transmission of the human voice through the air by the new invention called radio. Hearing a musical program by Pete Hollis, beamed from a River Street studio to Rotarians at the Imperial Hotel on McBee Avenue. They hosted guests at the opening of the elegant new Woodside building, celebrated Greenville's first airmail flight in 1930, and supported the organization of the community chest to fund local charities. And they actively expanded Rotary, organizing new clubs in Anderson, Florence, Charleston, Newberry, Seneca, Fountain Inn, and Eastleigh, entertaining 2 presidents of Rotary International and hosting international guests, inter-club meetings, and district conferences. Although club members twice rejected the international organization's request that they meet weekly, when Christmas and New Year's Day fell on their Tuesday meeting day, they sang carols and distributed gifts to hospitals and children's homes. On one memorable Tuesday in April 1939, every member was present, and the International Secretary wired congratulations and asked how they did it. Rotarians loved music. Their song leader was Pete Hollis, superintendent of the Parker School District, who knew every word and tune to most songs. He was stumped only once, a month before the 1928 election. He could not remember the words to The Sidewalks of New York, Democrat Al Smith's campaign song. In 1931, Rotarian George Mackey began a boys' chorus, soon with 90-voice Rotary Boy choristers. When World War II came, most Greenville Rotarians served on the home front. 12 of their members and 58 of their children manned the battle lines abroad. When a USO was proposed for the city in a meeting in 1942, members immediately pledged money and time for the cause. 10 Rotarians served on the Greenville County Sugar and Gasoline Rationing Board, and Rotarian Ellis Johnson headed the county war bond drive. The post-war world brought new challenges. The Cold War demanded increased international understanding. The Rotary responded by establishing scholarships for study abroad. In 1952, the club contributed $1,500 to allow students from Indonesia and Formosa to attend Furman. Over the years, Greenville Rotarians have contributed more than $400,000 so that international students could study in South Carolina and South Carolinians could study abroad. Local Rotary families hosted more than 100 exchange students, and members cheered enthusiastically when downtown club nominees like Furman senior Ronald McKinney won scholarships for foreign study. They participated in group study exchanges to Australia, Norway, Finland, Spain, the Canary Islands, and Brazil. Rotarians have been generous with their time and money for numerous international projects. Polio is a crippling and potentially fatal infectious disease. Rotary has led the battle to eradicate this dreaded disease and are amazingly close to realizing this dream. In 1988, the club raised $150,000 to help with this effort. The International Projects Committee aims to emphasize projects that clearly follow the goals of Rotary International and focus on projects in our hemisphere. Rotarians have helped provide eye exams for children in Ghana, assisted burn victims in Brazil, helped eliminate malnutrition in Haiti through planned farming and practical education, and brought clean water to villages in Honduras. Rotarians' primary concern, however, has still been serving Greenville. In 1947, Henry Mills established the Greenville Rotary Foundation with an initial gift of $5,000. Within a year, the endowment had nearly doubled. Today, the fund stands at over $150,000. Its interest income has supplemented Rotarians' local charitable contributions. Rotarians' generosity has definitely enhanced Greenvillians' quality of life. The club contributed to the YMCA Health Center, continued supporting Camp Greenville, and helped fund a mobile recreation program. It also helped build St. Francis Hospital and the Red Cross headquarters. In 1960, Rotary Charities Incorporated was set up to increase the money available for worthy community needs. It began the Rotary Civic Chorale, which was invited to sing at the Rotary International Convention in 1965, and today is the Greenville Chorale.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Starting in 1970, Rotary Charities also sponsored the Singing Christmas Tree, started by Pete Hollis 5 years earlier. The club became responsible for all its details, including setting up the steel structure, selling tickets, ushering, and publicity. Almost 200 young musicians, directed by Virginia Aldrich, performed at an extraordinary level of competence and were invited to sing at the Kennedy Center with the Robert Shaw Chorale. Performance profits were returned to the community to support arts in the schools and the Greenville Youth Orchestra. In 1992, Holiday Lights became the club's primary fundraiser, benefiting through Rotary Charities, nonprofit organizations throughout the area. Rotarians have screwed light bulbs, wired electricity, set up displays, and sold tickets to one of Greenville's top Christmas attractions. In 1988, the Rotary Club of Greenville added its first distinguished female members, Virginia Aldrich and Janet Dreskin. The club has continued to grow and prosper with the addition of female leadership. Beth Paget was installed as the club's first female president in 2002.
I think the impact that women have had coming into Rotary has been enormous, both in our own club, Rotary Club of Greenville, but also in Rotary International. They brought new energy, they brought an untapped volunteer base, and they brought the leadership potential that we've seen blossom in our club in the past decade or so. Think about it. You exclude 1/2 of the population of Greenville, of the world, from an organization. You suddenly open the doors to that, and slowly, incrementally, you have access to people with good ideas, people with energy, people who want to serve, people who want to volunteer. I think the impact has been enormous in our club and throughout the whole world of Rotary.
Over the years, the club has attracted important guest speakers at its luncheons, but at the heart of the club is service. Members have read to children as part of the Read to Me program. They have helped people manage their finances. In 2005, the club raised $275,000 to create the Rotary Family Literacy Center and continues to help individuals learn to read and write or further their education through the Greenville Literacy Association. The club has mentored veterans returning from combat so their transition back into civilian life will be smooth and productive. The club also annually honors outstanding lawmen and Greenville's finest teachers. Rotary is about people who care. It is members who respond with their hands and hearts as well as wallets. When the Salvation Army needed help at Christmas, Rotarians rang bells at street corners. They have raised money for Alzheimer's research, screwed light bulbs into holiday lights, and helped young people understand the career opportunities available in their future.
I'm so excited about the future of our club. We have so many young people who are coming in with a heart for service and a passion for serving our community. And we really have a vision in our club of what Greenville can be. And with the number of people that we have, we're really changing lives by grouping together and engaging in the community in meaningful ways. So the future of the club is all about service and being hands-on in terms of the work that we're doing in the community and bringing in diversity and young professionals to bring the club forward.
Service above self is more than a motto. For 100 years, it has been our deepest commitment and is the enduring legacy of the Rotary Club of Greenville. The light of past service is a beacon that guides future action. It is truly our legacy for tomorrow.